Welcome to the Global Thinking Academy module on Global Food Security and Hunger Basics. For this module, you will listen and view the presentation, complete readings or other assignments as instructed during the presentations, and complete the quiz. There are 3 learning objectives for this module. Participants will be able to identify the 4 dimensions of food security. Participants will be able to demonstrate critical thinking in a food security context, and participants will be able to incorporate a food security issue into their classes. Food security exists when all people, at all times, have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. Why should faculty and students in colleges of agriculture and life sciences care about global food security? Globally, in 2015, there were approximately 750 million undernourished people. In 2014, the U.S. population was just under 319 million people in comparison. Additionally, in 2014, 48 million Americans lived in food-insecure households. That equates to 14% of U.S. households. 6% or 6.9 million U.S. households experienced very low food security, according to feedingamerica.org. For your first activity, watch the TED Talk related to hunger linked in Canvas. What is the burden of knowledge? What does Gisette indicate the benefits of school feeding are? What is digital food? Take a few minutes to consider these questions and make notes. The 4 dimensions of food security are physical availability of food, economic and physical access to food, food utilization, and stability of the other 3 dimensions over time. Food availability addresses the supply side of food security and is determined by the level of food production, stock levels, and net trade. An adequate supply of food at the national or international level does not in itself guarantee household-level food security. Concerns about insufficient food access have resulted in a greater policy focus on incomes, expenditure, markets, and prices in achieving food security objectives. Utilization is commonly understood as the way the body makes the most of various nutrients in the food. Sufficient energy and nutrient intake by individuals is the result of good care and feeding practices, food preparation, diversity of the diet, and intra-household distribution of food. Combined with good biological utilization of food consumed, this determines the nutritional status of individuals. Even if your food intake is adequate today, you are still considered to be food insecure if you have inadequate access to food on a periodic basis, risking a deterioration of your nutritional status. Adverse weather conditions, political instability, or economic factors, for example unemployment, rising food prices, may have an impact on your food security status. Open the link, also linked in Canvas, and read the article to learn about the gentleman in the picture. The man in the previous slide was Dr. Norman Borlaug. Dr. Borlaug said, "Civilization as it is known today could not have evolved, nor can it survive, without an adequate food supply." He went on to say, "We have to acknowledge the fact that sufficient food is only the primary necessity for life. Hunger causes more issues than malnutrition. Conflict, political instability, educational deficiencies, employment issues, these are just some of the results of food insecurity." In Maslow's hierarchy, Physiological needs are the physical requirements for human survival. If these requirements are not met, the human body cannot function properly and will ultimately fail. Physiological needs are thought to be the most important. They should be met first. Air, water, and food are metabolic requirements for survival in all animals, including humans. Clothing and shelter provide necessary protection from the elements. Once a person's physical safety needs are relatively satisfied, their safety needs take precedence and dominate behavior. In the absence of physical safety, due to war, natural disaster, family violence, childhood abuse, etc., people may experience post-traumatic stress disorder or trauma. In the absence of economic safety, due to economic crisis and lack of work opportunities, these safety needs manifest themselves in ways such as a preference for job security and insurance policies. The third phase is love and belonging, and involves feelings of belongingness. Deficiencies within this level of Maslow's hierarchy can adversely affect the individual's ability to form and maintain emotionally significant relationships. Esteem addresses the need for people to feel respected. People often engage in a profession or hobby to gain recognition. These activities give the person a sense of value and feel accepted by others. Self-actualization refers to what a person's full potential is and the realization of that potential. Maslow identified this level as the wish to achieve all that an individual can. The famous U.S. Marine slogan, "Be all you can be," aligns with this level of the hierarchy. For Activity 2, click on the link in Canvas related to the Food Security Index. Once there, select the icon at the bottom middle of the page titled Explore Countries. Hover your mouse over the map and select 2 countries by clicking on each one at a time. Compare and contrast their rank out of 109 countries identified in the map. Also compare and contrast their challenges. Write down the countries you selected, their rank out of 109, and the primary challenge indicated on the website. A lower score in challenges would indicate the greatest challenges that a nation faces. What does this tell you about the specific nations you selected? Be prepared to share your answers. Over the next few minutes, we are going to get into what duration, severity, vulnerability, hunger, malnutrition, and poverty mean in the context of food security. There is a handout posted for you in Canvas that further details these concepts. Duration refers to the length of time food insecurity exists. Chronic food security is long-term food insecurity. Transitory food security is temporary or short-term food security. Severity of undernourishment is the extent to which dietary energy consumption falls below the predetermined threshold for the food deprived. Vulnerability in the context of food security infers 3 things: vulnerability to an outcome, from a variety of factors, and because of an inability to manage those risks. To lessen vulnerability, reduce the degree of exposure to the hazard, and increase the ability to cope. Food security policies and programs expand their reach by attending to vulnerability. Hunger is an uncomfortable or painful sensation caused by insufficient food energy consumption. Hunger is simply food deprivation. Malnutrition results from deficiencies, excesses, or imbalances in the consumption of macro or micronutrients. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development suggested poverty encompasses different dimensions of deprivation that relate to human capabilities, including consumption and food security, health, education, rights, voice, security, dignity, and decent work. Watch the video featuring Ellen Gustafson linked in Canvas. Be prepared to answer the following questions. What are both hunger and obesity about? What are some of the comparisons that Ellen makes with hunger? What is one long-term solution of the 30 project? Other items to take into consideration are scale and challenges. Scale refers to the specific level on which we are discussing food security. Challenges refer to variables that affect food security that we may have not considered. Examples of scale include a household, the community, the national level, regional level, or even a global level. Other challenges affect food security, such as climate change, the growth in population, conflict areas, and severe weather. Are there any others not identified in this slide? For Activity 3, reflect upon how we as faculty in colleges of agriculture and life sciences integrate food security concepts into our teaching, into our research, and even into our service. Write down your answers and be prepared to share. There are several additional references listed here and linked in Canvas. Use these as a library to acquire more detailed information about global hunger and food security basics.